Does learning about support for veterans and their families interest you? That is what Joe and Sally will be discussing today. On this special Remembrance Day, we express our gratitude for the dedicated service of those who have protected our country, including members of my own family. Through the Veterans Emergency Fund, veterans, their spouses, children, and survivors can receive timely support to ease unexpected financial hardships, ensuring their well-being and security. Thank you for joining us as we share this vital information for our heroes and their families. Okay, let's get started on this deep dive.
Right, so today we're diving into something super important for Canadian veterans and their families.
Yeah, something a lot of folks aren't even aware of.
Exactly. We're talking about the Veterans Emergency Fund, or VEF for short.
And we've got all the intel straight from the source, Veterans Affairs Canada.
We've got application details, FAQs, policy documents.
The whole shebang.
So consider this your one-stop shop for all things VEF. Basically, this deep dive is all about making sure you know exactly how to access this resource if you ever need it.
Exactly, because when a crisis hits, you need help fast.
No time to waste, right?
Absolutely. And that's where the VEF comes in. It's designed to provide immediate financial assistance when a veteran or their family is hit with a sudden, unexpected crisis.
So we're not talking about like help with paying your regular bill.
Nope, this is for those oh crap moments.
Right, like a house fire, a sudden medical emergency.
Exactly, something that really throws your life into turmoil.
And to qualify, you need to be facing a real, immediate threat to your health or well-being.
Yeah, a genuine crisis situation.
Yeah. So who exactly is eligible for this support?
Well, first and foremost, Canadian Armed Forces veterans themselves.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it also extends beyond that.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
It includes their current spouse or common law partner,
Okay.
survivors of a deceased veteran or CAF member,
Right.
and even orphans of veterans or CAF members.
Oh, that's a pretty broad scope.
Right. So if you're a veteran or their partner, spouse, or even an orphan of a veteran, you could potentially qualify.
Now, I'm assuming dependents can't apply on their own.
You're right, they can't.
They would have to be the veteran or their partner applying on their behalf.
Precisely. But here's the good news. If you're approved, decisions are usually made within 1 to 2 business days.
That's amazing.
And the payment follows just as quickly.
Wow, they really understand the urgency of these situations.
They do. They get it.
Okay, so let's break down what the VEF actually covers. We're talking about essential needs, right?
Absolutely. Think the basics: food, clothing, shelter.
Okay, got it.
But it also goes beyond that.
Oh, like what?
Well, it includes uninsured medical or dental costs.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it gets even more interesting. They also cover expenses that are necessary to keep someone safe and sheltered.
So, like, if you needed to quickly relocate because of a natural disaster.
Exactly. Or if you're facing a safety issue and need to get out of a dangerous situation.
So it's not just about putting a roof over your head.
Right. It's about making sure that roof is actually safe and secure.
That's really important.
It's about addressing those immediate needs that threaten your well-being. But just as important as knowing what's covered
is knowing what's not covered.
You got it. So listen up, because this is important. The VEF won't cover your recurring bills.
Okay.
Anything related to your business.
Right.
Or expenses for things like vacations.
I see.
Entertainment or gifts.
So basically, if it's not an absolute necessity for your immediate well-being,
It's probably not going to be covered.
makes sense. They're trying to help you weather the storm, not fund your lifestyle.
Exactly. It's a targeted lifeline.
Not a general financial aid program.
Precisely. Now, let's talk about the big question.
The one everyone wants to know.
How much can you actually get from the VEF?
Right. What kind of support are we talking about?
Okay, so the maximum amount is $2,500
Okay.
per veteran, per household, per fiscal year.
And just to clarify, for those who might not know, a fiscal year in Canada runs from April 1st to March 31st.
Exactly. Now, $2,500 might not seem like a lot to some folks,
True.
but when you're in the middle of a crisis, it can make a world of difference.
It can be a real lifesaver.
Absolutely. And here's where it gets even more interesting.
Oh, there's more.
In exceptional circumstances, that amount can actually be exceeded.
Really?
Yeah, the policy documents actually give an example.
Way out of me.
Imagine a child needing crucial medical care in another province.
Okay.
And you've got all these unexpected travel costs.
I see.
That could be considered an exceptional circumstance.
So there's some flexibility built into the system.
There is. They recognize that emergencies aren't one size fits all.
Thank goodness for that.
And the best part is, you don't have to pay it back.
Oh, it's not a loan.
It's a grant. No strings attached.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it's not considered taxable income either.
So no added financial stress on top of everything else you're dealing with.
Exactly. It's pure support designed to help you get back on your feet.
Okay, so I think we've painted a pretty clear picture of what the VEF is all about.
We've covered the purpose, who it's for, what it covers.
But I know we've thrown a lot of information out there.
It's a lot to digest.
So if anything's standing out to you,
Any questions popping up?
jot them down.
We'll get to them later.
We want this deep dive to be as helpful and informative as possible.
Absolutely. But before we move on to the application process, there's one crucial piece of the puzzle we need to address.
Okay, you've got my attention. What is it?
Well, we've been talking about the VEF and how crucial it is, but here's the thing. There isn't a lot of data out there about how many veterans actually know about it or have used it.
Really? So we don't know how effective it's been in reaching those who need it most.
Exactly, and that's a problem.
It's a big knowledge gap.
It is, and that's where you come in.
What do you mean?
If you know a veteran or a veteran's family member,
Okay.
tell them about the VEF.
Spread the word.
Share this episode with them.
Let's get the information out there.
We need to break down those barriers to knowledge and make sure that everyone who could benefit from this resource knows about it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Turning information into action. Knowledge is power, but only if it's shared.
You said it.
Yeah.
Okay, now that we've got that important message out of the way,
Yeah.
let's move on to the actual application process. Ready to dive into the nitty-gritty details.
Let's do it.
Okay, so you're in a crisis and you need to apply for the VEF.
What's the fastest way?
The absolute fastest is online through your My VAC account.
Got it.
But don't worry if you haven't set that up yet.
We'll get to that later.
You can also apply on paper,
Okay.
but that takes a bit longer.
Naturally.
Either way, though,
Yeah.
you'll need some key info ready to go.
All right, let's break it down.
So first, you need proof of identity.
Your driver's license or health card?
Exactly, something with your photo and info.
Makes sense.
Then you'll need the veteran's service details.
Full name, service number, date of birth.
Yep, all the basics.
Okay.
And then, this is super important.
Yeah.
You need documentation related to the emergency itself.
So this is where being organized really pays off,
It really does.
because you need to prove this is a real emergency.
Exactly, and that's where those documents come in.
Right. So what kind of documents are we talking about?
Well, it depends on your specific situation.
Of course.
But think about what really paints a clear picture.
Okay.
So, if your house was damaged, you'd need quotes for repairs.
Got it.
If you're facing eviction, you'd need financial statements.
Right.
If your utilities are about to be shut off, you'd need notices of disconnection.
So anything that helps VAC understand the urgency.
Exactly. The more documentation you have,
Yeah.
the better.
Now, I can imagine this can feel overwhelming for someone,
Oh, absolutely.
especially in the middle of a crisis,
It's tough.
to gather all these documents.
Right, and that's why it's so important
Yeah.
to know about the VEF ahead of time.
Just being familiar with the process
Exactly.
can make things a little less stressful.
Absolutely. But even beyond that,
Mm-hmm.
I think for a lot of veterans,
Yeah.
just asking for help in the first place
Right.
can be a huge hurdle.
It can be tough to admit you need help,
It is, especially when you've always been the strong one.
the one taking care of others.
Exactly. But you know what?
What?
The VEF is there for a reason.
To support veterans
To support those who served our country.
and their families.
Precisely. And there's absolutely no shame in asking for help when you need it.
It's about recognizing that we all need a helping hand sometimes.
We do. And the VEF is there to provide that support
That's true.
for our veterans and their families.
So before we move on,
Yeah.
let's talk a bit more about that online portal you mentioned.
My VAC account.
Yes, because it sounds like a really valuable tool.
It is, especially if you're navigating the world of veterans' benefits.
Right, trying to figure out what support is available.
Exactly. Think of it as your direct line to Veterans Affairs Canada.
I like that.
All the information and services you might need.
All in one place.
Precisely. You can apply for benefits.
Okay.
Communicate securely with VAC staff.
Great.
Track the status of your applications.
Awesome.
Even update your personal information.
So much easier than dealing with paperwork and phone calls.
Oh, it's a game changer.
So if you're listening and you haven't set up a My VC account yet,
Do it.
get that done.
That'll make your life so much easier.
Now let's talk about some real-life examples.
Okay.
So let's say a veteran's basement floods
Okay.
because of a burst pipe.
Oh.
Insurance covers some of the damage,
Mm-hmm.
but they still have to pay for a lot out of pocket to
Okay.
replace belongings, pay for temporary housing.
Would this be a situation where the VEF could help?
Absolutely. That's a perfect example of an emergency that threatens their safety and well-being.
Right.
Those out-of-pocket costs
Yeah.
that aren't covered by insurance
Mm-hmm.
would definitely fall under the VEF's mandate.
Okay, cool.
Now, let's flip the script.
Okay.
What if a veteran is struggling to pay rent?
Mm-hmm.
They're a couple of months behind.
Okay.
They have a steady income,
Mm-hmm.
but had some unexpected car repairs
Oh, no.
that drained their savings.
I see.
Would this be an emergency for the VEF?
That's a tricky one.
It is.
Because just falling behind on rent,
Yeah?
even for a legitimate reason,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't typically qualify.
Right, because the VEF is about preventing immediate harm,
Exactly.
not solving ongoing financial challenges.
Precisely. But there's a nuance here.
Okay.
If that veteran has received an official eviction notice,
Oh, I see.
then that changes things.
Because now there's an immediate threat.
Exactly. The threat of losing their shelter,
Yeah.
that becomes an immediate crisis.
That could jeopardize their well-being.
Precisely. And in that case,
The VEF could help.
exactly, they could potentially step in to prevent that eviction.
So it's all about the immediacy of the threat.
It is. It's not about judging someone's financial management.
It's about preventing them from falling through the cracks.
Exactly, in a moment of crisis.
So we've talked about the maximum amount of $2,500.
Yes.
But what exactly defines a household?
Good question.
Because that could mean different things to different people.
It could. For the VEF,
Yeah.
a household includes anyone living at the same address.
So spouses, partners, children,
Yep,
even roommates.
exactly. It's about the collective financial situation.
Of everyone living under one roof.
Precisely. Regardless of their relationship to the veteran,
Okay, that makes sense.
it ensures that the funding is supporting the whole household.
Not just one person.
Right. Now, let's talk about dependents.
Okay.
We know they can't apply on their own,
Right.
but the veteran or their partner can apply on their behalf.
So who exactly is a dependent?
Good question. For the VEF, it's the veteran's child,
Okay.
natural or adopted,
Got it.
a child of their spouse or partner,
Right.
or even a child of their former spouse or partner,
Okay.
as long as they're providing financial support.
So it's not just limited to kids living under the same roof.
Nope, not at all. They recognize that families come in all shapes and sizes.
And what if a dependent is over 18?
Good question. If they're still financially reliant on the veteran...
Like if they're attending university.
Exactly. They could still be considered a dependent.
Okay, so financial dependence can extend beyond the age of majority.
Absolutely. The VEF takes that into account.
Now, what about a veteran caring for an elderly parent
Okay.
with significant medical expenses?
Mm-hmm.
Would the VEF be able to help in that situation?
Unfortunately, no.
No, it's too bad.
It is. While it's amazing that the veteran is caring for their parent,
Yeah,
the VEF is very specific.
right.
It's designed to support veterans and their immediate families.
Spouses, partners, children.
Exactly. Parents don't fall under that umbrella.
So there are boundaries to the program,
There are.
and it's important to understand those boundaries.
Yeah.
But even if a situation doesn't qualify for the VEF,
Mm-hmm.
there might be other support available
Oh, absolutely. Veterans Affairs Canada has a whole range of programs.
to address different challenges
Exactly. So don't hesitate to reach out.
and explore all your options.
Now let's talk about what happens
Okay.
if someone's application is denied.
Is it game over?
Nope, not at all.
Okay.
You have the right to request a reconsideration.
So they'll look at it again
Exactly. A different benefits program officer will review it.
just to make sure nothing was missed.
Precisely. And it's usually pretty quick.
That's good to hear.
You'll usually get a decision within 2 business days.
But there's a catch, right?
There is.
You can't submit any new information. It's purely a second look at the original application.
Exactly. So if you have additional documents,
Or information.
it's better to submit a brand new application.
Makes sense.
It's all about making sure
Yeah.
VAC has the most complete picture of your situation.
Now, I know we've covered a ton of information,
We have.
but you don't have to memorize everything.
We've got you covered.
All those important links.
These are resources
Even the VEF policy documents.
that are in the episode description below.
So, no need to take frantic notes.
Just check out the description.
And you'll have everything at your fingertips.
We try to make this information as accessible as possible.
Because knowledge is only powerful if it's shared and understood.
Okay, so before we move on
Yeah.
to the bigger picture implications of the VEF, Are there any key takeaways or lingering questions that stand out to you? All right, so we've talked a lot about the specifics of the VEF,
The nitty-gritty details.
but let's step back for a minute.
Okay.
Look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
What are the VEF's strengths?
Well, I think its speed is a huge strength.
Definitely.
Decisions in 1 to 2 business days.
Yeah.
And payments soon after.
Exactly. That's crucial in a crisis.
Absolutely. And the fact that you don't need to be receiving other VAC benefits.
Right. You don't have to be enrolled in other programs.
To qualify for the VEF.
That opens the door to so many more veterans.
Who might need that help.
Exactly. And we can't forget about that flexibility.
The ability to go over that $2,500 maximum.
In exceptional cases.
That's a really important safety valve.
It is. Life doesn't always fit into neat little boxes.
So true.
Sometimes you need to bend the rules a little.
To truly meet someone's needs.
Exactly. But, of course, no program is perfect.
Right. There are always limitations.
There are.
So where do you see room for improvement with the VEF?
Well, that lack of data on awareness and utilization,
We talked about that earlier.
it's a major concern.
It is.
Because
yeah.
if we don't know how many veterans are even aware of the VEF,
Yeah.
how can we assess its impact?
Right. How do we know if it's actually reaching the people who need it?
Exactly. And that makes it harder to identify any gaps in outreach.
And harder to advocate for improvements.
Absolutely. If we had better data,
Yeah.
we could tailor our awareness campaigns.
Right. Target specific groups of veterans.
Exactly. We can make sure no one's falling through the cracks.
And we could use that data to drive positive change.
You got it. Now, another area where I see room for improvement
Yeah.
is the appeals process.
What do you mean?
Right now, if a reconsideration is denied,
Yeah.
that's it. There's no further recourse.
That seems a little harsh.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about emergency financial assistance.
Right. People's lives could be on the line.
Exactly. So I think a multi-tiered appeals system,
Yeah.
similar to what exists for other VAC benefits,
That would give veterans more options.
it would. And it would ensure that every decision is thoroughly reviewed.
Okay, so let's zoom out even further.
All right.
What does the VEF say about Canada's commitment to supporting its veterans?
Ooh, that's a great question.
I think it speaks volumes.
It does. It's more than just words.
It's action.
It's putting your money where your mouth is.
It's a tangible way of saying thank you for your service.
And we're here for you when you need us.
And I think it reflects a growing understanding
Yeah.
that the transition to civilian life
Right.
can be really tough for veterans.
Absolutely. And they might face unique challenges.
So the VEF is just one piece of the puzzle
It's part of a larger support system.
to help veterans thrive.
Exactly. And let's not forget that it specifically addresses those unexpected crises.
They can really throw anyone's life off course,
Right.
but can be especially hard for veterans.
Who might already be dealing with other challenges.
It's about providing that extra layer of support.
That can make all the difference.
So looking ahead,
Yeah.
how do you see the VEF evolving in the future?
Well, we need to be proactive.
Not reactive.
Right. We need to anticipate those merging challenges.
And adapt our support systems.
Exactly. We can't just create a program and then forget about it.
It needs constant evaluation
It does. Constant improvement.
to make sure it remains relevant.
And impactful.
So, for example, with the rising cost of living,
Yeah.
is that $2,500 maximum still enough?
It's a valid question.
We need to be having those conversations.
We do. And we need to remember that the veteran population is constantly changing.
We have more and more younger veterans,
with different needs.
so the VEF needs to adapt to those needs.
It has to evolve alongside the community it serves.
Well said. I think we've done a pretty thorough job of exploring the VEF today.
We have, from the eligibility requirements
To the bigger picture implications.
and everything in between.
So, to wrap things up,
Yeah.
remember, all the resources we talked about,
Application details,
policy documents,
all that good stuff.
it's all in the episode description below.
So check it out.
And if you found this deep dive helpful,
We'd love for you to like, share, and subscribe to Timely Trends and News.
your support helps us keep creating this content.
And reach more people.
And to all the veterans listening out there,
Yeah.
thank you for your service.
Yeah. Your sacrifices are deeply appreciated.
We're dedicated to supporting you in any way we can.
Until next time.
Take care.
Hello, my name is Cheryl, and I am the creator of the Timely Trends and News YouTube channel. I was raised to show respect in all situations, and I believe in being open with my audience, so I'd like to provide this quick disclaimer. The voice you're hearing isn't actually mine. I tried recording with my own voice, but it didn't turn out as I'd hoped. So, I'm using a voice created with AI technology. The image you see right now has also been enhanced using AI, but the next slide will show the original photo. Timely Trends and News was created to uplift and inspire Indigenous people by sharing news, stories, and events that resonate with and empower our communities. My goal is to bring relevant information, spark meaningful conversations, and support Indigenous voices. If you know of any news, conferences, or events that might be valuable to share, I would love to hear from you. Please feel free to reach out at timelytrendsandnews@gmail.com. I genuinely appreciate your support. When you click the subscribe button, it truly makes a difference and helps our community grow. Thank you for being part of this journey with me. I am grateful to walk alongside you in honoring and celebrating Indigenous voices and stories.